I just don't understand the appeal to the WWE programming right now. Other than NXT, from what I gather, NXT is just kicking ass on Wednesday nights. They just are right behind. They have lost some steps this past week. That doesn't mean that they're gonna, continue. But SmackDown and Raw, respectively, are just, just absolute. Another cough, babe. We're gonna do 2 tonight. All right, whatever. I feel you. But it's, it's just that. That's the sound effect for. Let's So we're now to the main event of the evening. The thing that some of you have been waiting for me to talk about all night. When I started this podcast, this guy was already gone from wrestling, and now he's back with WWE Backstage, a Fox-produced show on Fox, talking about SmackDown and Raw. And I feel like it was just it was blown, man. The whole thing feels lackluster, and it didn't mean anything. Like, okay, is it monumental and momentous and absolutely amazing that CM Punk has returned to, in one way, shape, or form at least, the WWE? Yeah, it is, and a lot of people can agree with me there. Obviously, I've seen all over Twitter, people are marking all over the place about CM Punk making his return. But it's to be a commentator. I mean, does that mean that a match is out of the question? No, I think it's going to happen. I sincerely do believe something between him and Seth Rollins is coming up in the future. And we'll talk about that for a few minutes after I explain my issue with the debut. But it was just so fucking anticlimactic, They play his music, and yeah, everybody marked and stuff, but the energy there was no energy in that room. I mean, it's just like, and we have a surprise guest. That was me doing the music, if you guys didn't realize. I know it was pretty close to the actual recording, but it was me. No, he comes in and he's like, I'm back and I'm CM Punk, and it's just like, oh man, like, fuck. Like, we've all kind of had wet dreams about that moment since 2013 when he left, when CM Punk would burst back into the scene and come down the ramp on Raw and, attack Triple H or, fucking Seth Rollins or whomever. And they just kind of took it away from us. I mean, does that mean the debut is completely gone now? But and I mean, if he ran out on Raw tonight, even, and fucking attacked Roman Reigns or some shit, would people still mark the fuck out? Yeah, they'd mark the fuck out. I mean, I'm not going to bullshit you. But don't you think that something was taken away from him with this backstage bullshit? I mean, I can't be the only one who thinks that this was kind of fucked up. Like this is a big goddamn rib. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I do feel like it was, just... And it's kind of cool to see CM Punk back, and now he's firing shots at Tony Khan, tagging him, and so I'll be talking about these people tomorrow. Wrestling's past and present, and nobody's safe. And he tags in Vince and Tony Khan and a bunch of others, and that was kind of cool, taking shots. He's working for the other guy now, so obviously he's going to take shots. But I feel like some of the air was brought out of that. Hell, this conversation feels to me about CM Punk. So I don't know. It just got a little for me. But let's talk about the possibility of a match. So we all know it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't know if he was brought in specifically for that. I mean, Fox and WWE collectively have thrown some fucking money at this guy. They're giving him the fucking moon. It's gonna like, hey, we can start talking about maybe a match. Maybe one little scuffle, maybe a run-in. Let me. Okay, so we're gonna fantasy book here. Fantasy book. Fantasy book. No, we're gonna fantasy book here a little bit. And let's say that CM Punk is willing to do a match. Right now, it's just one match. So on this fantasy booking thing that we do, he will not be doing any matches except for that main event match, that final fucking match. So I see it going down like this. I mean, Seth Rollins right now is considered the top guy in WWE. I mean, he considers himself best in the world, but we know that's not the fucking truth. I like taking jabs at him. No, so Seth Rollins is considered the top guy right now in WWE. CM Punk, former top guy, only makes sense. He's trying to get back into the business. He wants another match. Put him with Seth Rollins. So we've seen Seth talk shit on Twitter already. You know, hey, fight me. Like, that's professional. You know, we've seen him talk shit on Twitter. You know, all it would take was for CM Punk to start talking shit back. And so you start off like that. I mean, a couple of weeks. Maybe even mention it on Raw. Maybe Seth Rollins alludes to it on Raw in the middle of whatever program he's going through right now. But no more than that. You know, and they just kind of bicker back and forth. You know, and then maybe CM Punk shows up on a Raw a couple of weeks from now. You know, Seth Rollins at the end of a program, they're getting him out of it. You know, he just defended the title at the last pay-per-view, you know, without a hitch. CM Punk didn't interfere or anything like that. But he's out there talking about how nobody else can stand out. He's the best in the world, you know, whatever else. And then, you know, the music hits. And people would mark the fuck out. If CM Punk walked down that stage, they would mark the fuck out if CM Punk stood there till the end of the show. Like, just like, because this is, I'm guessing this will be probably a main event segment. And he stands there, and then he walks back inside. And see, that would be enough to fuel it. That'd be enough to get that spark just to fucking flaming up. And start this feud between Seth and CM Punk. So then you've got CM Punk maybe doing interviews with podcasts, talking about it on Backstage. And then Seth Rollins on Twitter, talking about it on Raw, talking about it on Twitter, and you're fueling the fire between the two. You use that social media, use those other shows, use the other resources, use the tools that you got to build up what could be one of the best stories ever. You know, not ever. That's getting a little too ahead of myself. I get into it for a minute, you know, but building up one of the best stories of the last couple of years, at least for WWE, and then you get to WrestleMania, and let's make CM Punk the special guest host. Special host of WrestleMania, you know. I mean, he's kind of the biggest guy, and he's the biggest conversation in wrestling right now is CM Punk. So it makes sense when WrestleMania comes around because we're in November now. So, you know, it was March, ain't that fucking far off. Special guest host, CM Punk is there. He does some talking, you know. He's out there saying hey to the crowd, all that shit. And Seth has got a main event match that night. I would say you run the show like regular, maybe have some mentions to CM Punk and Seth's beef, but then at the main event, we'll say Seth goes over. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Seth goes over whomever he's fighting. We'll fucking throw anybody in there. John Cena, fucking Roman Reigns. I'm sure they're looking forward to another Roman Reigns Seth Rollins story pretty soon. So Roman Reigns goes over Roman Reigns, and that's really just it's a catalyst. I would say into the show, you don't put CM Punk on this WrestleMania to fight. You don't do that. You don't blow your load too fucking early. You save it. You just keep stringing out as much heat as you can, and you wait. I'd say another year. I really would push it for another fucking year, you know? And don't put them in the ring together at all. I mean, at that WrestleMania, you put them in the ring long enough for him to get face-to-face with them. Nose to nose. Maybe a little shit talking, maybe a shove, but no more than that. And you hold. You know, and the fans lose their fucking mind. And you know they would. You know they'd mark the fuck out about that. And that'd be the conversation for the year. You know, it'd be a WrestleMania moment. You'd build something around that. That'd be absolutely bonkers. For anybody who was there watching, they're live, they're catching it later. It'd be the talk of the wrestling world. And I wouldn't say it would last until the very next WrestleMania, but the talk would be enough alone to keep that shit going for another 2-3 months. And you do shit like that. You build it. You know, you get them together. Maybe even start having them get a little physical down the road. Maybe CM Punk and Seth are are in the same ring for a little bit, down on SmackDown or Raw, and things get physical. Seth goes for a punch, and Punk is able to block it, gets him with an elbow real quick, gets him on his shoulders, but Seth gets off of him before he can hit the GTS. And then maybe we see Seth going for, a pedigree eventually down the road at another altercation. Maybe they're having a tag team. Maybe CM Punk is cornering for a friend of his, like Seth is fighting. Seth could be fighting anybody. Fuck Chris Ono or anybody. Cassius Ono, because he was CM Punk's original choice for the Shield. CM Punk created the fucking Shield. Need to use that too. But, his original choice for the leader of the Shield was going to be Cassius Ono, not Roman Reigns. So you could have Seth and Cassius having a fight on SmackDown, because we know that he's coming up in the world and, fucking becoming on the main roster and shit eventually. They got to do something with him eventually, I would hope. And, things get a little hairy, Seth and CM get into a little altercation on the outside. Seth goes for a pedigree, and CM Punk slides out. Gets out, it's just little shit like that. Tease the audience. Tease them for a fucking year. Ratings would be up, I think. You could use that story to carry a lot of your other programming. I can't book the rest of the show for the next year. I'm just saying that would be up to you. I'm giving you gold, WWE. Why don't you listen? But... that's only if CM Punk will be interested. But then you build it. You build it to the next WrestleMania. And, you could build that as a fucking main event of WrestleMania. But no, hold on one second. I've got Jay wanting to get in here, I think. I'm not entirely sure. So I'm going to throw on a track. I'm going to throw on a quick track for you guys. See what I've got here. I got some of my own stuff, because I know how much you guys love that. Actually, I don't think anybody loves that. But I love hearing it, damn it. So I'm going to keep playing it. Oh, you know what I've got? I've got Tuesday Morning Wrestling. These guys are a cool little band I found on Bandcamp. And they've got some cool little songs, It's interesting. Here it is. And I asked them if I could use their music a while back. And they graciously let me. Here's the Lex Express from Tuesday Morning Wrestling. You guys chill out for just a minute. We'll be right back.
She died on the living room couch. He was making food in the microwave. Liz's favorite Salisbury steak. Lex came back in to give her a kiss. She was passed out, covered in piss. Lex got scared, and Lex is dumb. He flushed the pills before he called 911. Liz took the Lex Express to her grave. So many drugs, house looked like a rave. The ambulance showed up, nothing they could do. Sap plugged their noses, 'cause she smelled like poo. 'Cause she shit the bed, it was Lex's fault. He should have known not to mix pills